All right, so starting out, linear inequality looks like a linear equation, but instead of an equal sign, there's an inequality symbol. So if we look at number 1, I would read that as y is less than or equal to 7x plus 7. So we're going to select that that is an inequality. Second one, 4x plus 3y equals 9. Since it's got an equal sign, that would be an equation. So pretty easy to distinguish those. Remember, less than, greater than, we should definitely be able to recognize which symbol's which. And then if it has the line underneath it, you read that as and equal to. So to graph a linear inequality, we're going to follow the same strategy that we did for linear equations, and that is to isolate the y, that variable. So 4x plus 2y is greater than 8. So we would start out by rewriting that. 4x plus 2y is greater than 8. And in this case, really, it's going to be exactly the same as what we did with the equations. We're going to subtract the 4x from both sides. That's going to cancel out. We're going to get positive 2y is greater than negative 4x plus 8. We'll divide by 2 on every single term. And we'll get y is greater than negative 2x plus 4. And then we'll type that in. Y is greater than negative 2x plus 4. And as far as getting the symbols, if you click the keyboard, you can choose less than or equal to or greater than or equal to from there. And then when you're typing just greater or less, you can just use the shift and either comma or period on your keyboard. Next rule, if you ever multiply or divide by negative numbers, you must reverse the inequality symbol. So we're going to see that in action on problem number 4. So do this one with me. We got negative 2x minus 3y is less than or equal to 18. So add 2x first. Drop down the negative 3y is less than or equal to 2x plus 18. And then in this step, when we divide by negative 3, that rule that I just mentioned comes into play. So since the number that we're dividing by is a negative number, I'm going to switch the sign. So it's y is now greater than or equal to negative 2/3 x minus 6. So again, whenever you multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality symbol has to get flipped around. So we do y, click the box, greater than negative 2/3 x minus 6. And that one's done. Next one, kind of the same work again. We got 2x is less than 3y minus 9. So what I'd probably do on this one is, since the y is over here, I might go ahead and add the 9 over. So now I've got 2x plus 9 is less than 3y. Divide by 3 on everything. 2/3 x plus 3 is less than y. And then we always want y on the left side, so I'm going to reverse everything. So y is greater than 2/3 x plus 3. And that's what I would type in. Y is greater than 2/3 x plus 3. So again, get y by itself, do the algebra that you would do, and then the only kind of extra thing is be careful with the inequality symbol, and especially remember, if you ever multiply or divide by negative, you must reverse the symbol. As far as the graphing, we're going to graph like normal, but we're going to use a dashed line for less or greater and a solid line for less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And then we're also going to either shade above if it's greater or shade below if it's less. So this one, it's already in slope-intercept form. So I would do what I would normally do. Look at the intercept, that's positive 4. So that tells me my first point is up here at positive 4. And then my slope is negative 3. So I'm going to go down 3 over 1. Repeat that one more time, down 3 over 1. And then before I make my line, I'm going to pay attention to it's only greater. So I want a dashed line. So you can do that on formative. So I can switch to my line tool. And then when I click up here at the color, I can just choose dashed lines. And then it'll give you that dash around the box. And then you just connect those as best you can. That was a little bad. Let's try it again. There we go. And then arrows at the end still. And since we have a greater than, we're going to shade above it. So what I would do is click on your color, change it to whatever you want. Uncheck dashed. I would select the biggest one and then change the opacity down to something where it looks like it's shaded. And then let's change that to scribble. And then we can just go above that some. And I don't expect you to fill all this in. When you're doing this assignment on Delta Math, it'll do it a little bit more automatically for you. So that's done. So the solution would be anything that's in that shaded area would count as the answer. Next one, kind of the same thing. We're going to look at, and you might want to change these settings back to that, back to that. -6 is my intercept. So I'm going to plot there. My slope is +2/3. So I'm going to go up 2/3, up 2/3. And then because it's less than or equal to, I do want a solid line this time. So I don't need to change it to dashed. I'd keep it solid. And then it says the solution, it's y is less than or equal to. So that tells me that I'm going to shade below the line. So whatever color I want, dip that down, change back to scribble, and then just shade in some of this area down here. Again, I'm not looking for it to be perfect. What I'd be looking for is, did you do a solid or dashed line correctly? And then are you shading it above or below correctly? Next two, we're going to do a little bit of work first because we can't graph these the way they are. So we need to figure out what the slope-intercept form would be. So I would start with rewriting and then do the algebra, add 4x. So 2y would be less than or equal to 4x plus 10. Divide everything by 2. We're dividing by a positive, so I do not change the sign. Double check my work. Looks good. So start at 5. Slope tells me up 2/1, up 2/1. Maybe go backward just for good measure. It's less than or equal to, so that tells me solid line, not dashed. And then looking at our symbol, we had less than or equal to. So when I change that to whatever color, I'm going to shade above or below the line, excuse me. So that region over there. All right, next one. Change that back. So -6x, it's a little too thick. Minus 8y is less than or equal to 32. Add the 6x, -8y is less than or equal to 6x plus 32. Divide everything by -8. So y, since I divided by a negative, I change that symbol. And then 6/8 would reduce to 3/4. And since one of the signs was negative, it's negative. And then 32 divided by 8 is -4. So I'd start my graph at -4. I'm going to go down 3/4. I might go backwards, up 3, left 4. And then less than or greater than or equal to would be another solid line. Then we think about where we're shading. It's greater, so that means I'm going to shade everything above my line. And again, you don't have to take your time to fill in everything, just enough that I can tell that you're choosing above or below correctly. And then last thing we're going to just review is how we solve an inequality. So goal on one like this is just to get x by itself. So let's switch back to this. So -6x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 32 plus x. So I would subtract x from both sides. get negative 7x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 32. Subtract 4. Negative 7x is greater than or equal to 28. Divide by negative 7. Since we're dividing by a negative, I do flip the symbol. And then that's how I type in my answer. X, click over here, is less than or equal to negative 4. And that's done. All right, so that was pretty quick. If there are any of these that you need to go back and look at, you've got full access to this video, so you can pause, go back to, and then the assignment is linked down here at the bottom. So if you click this Delta Math assignment, let me show you what that's going to look like and maybe do a problem or two with you from each one. All right, so you all should see on your end, this screen, the linear inequalities is what we're looking at. So let's look at the first set. Again, these aren't going to be your exact problems, but on a problem like this is like problem 10 in the notes, where you're going to get the variable by itself, make sure here that you choose the correct symbol, either less, greater, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal, and then type your answer. And then a big reminder, if at any point in the process you've multiplied or divided by a negative, make sure you flip the symbol from what it originally was. So that's set 1. Set 2, the graphing. So you would again get the variable by itself. So let's look at how this would play out on this one. So if I've got this, I'm going to subtract the x over and get 6y is less than, I'm going to go ahead and write negative 1x plus 6. I'm going to divide everything by 6. So that tells me I'm graphing y is less than negative 1/6 x plus 1. And that work you're just going to have to do on paper, okay? Once you have that there, your next step is to graph it. So when your mouse is on here, make your first point the y-intercept, which for us is 1. And then we're going to go down 1 over 6. And then that line's on there. And then you're going to shade. So we're going to change our line as well. So since that was less than, we want it to be dashed. And then click change shade. Since it's less, we want it to be shaded below. So make sure that you edit both of those things. Make sure it's either solid or dashed, and then that you've changed the shading to above or below correctly before you submit. So check it one last time. Minus x, yes. Divided by 6, yes. Got 1, should be good. So submit that one. And there we go. And then as always, you're going to get the feedback on there if you were correct or not. And then next and last type that you'll have would be, which point would be a solution to the system. So you're going to pick out points that work in both of these. So remember, each one of those is an x and a y. So you would basically just plug in until you see which set works in both. So let's try negative 12, 10 first. So is 10 greater than or equal to negative 3x? Let's not do that, excuse me. Let's do x as what it is, which is negative 12 minus 4. So I get 10 is greater than or equal to 36 minus 4. So 10 is greater than or equal to 32. That's not true. 10 is less than that. So I know that's not my answer. Might try the next one. So 7 is greater than or equal to negative 3 times negative 4 minus 4. It'll give me 7 is greater than or equal to 12 minus 4. So 7 is greater than or equal to 8. That's not true. I can eliminate that one. Next one, 8 is greater than or equal to negative 3 times negative 4 minus 4, which we already actually did that part. So 8 is greater than or equal to 8. That's true, but that doesn't mean that's my answer, because I got to check to make sure it works in the up one. So I would do over here, 8 is greater than a half times negative 4 minus 6. So 8 is greater than -2 minus 6. So 8 is greater than -8, which is true. Since that point here worked in both of them, that's my answer. So I choose that, submit it, yeah, we got it. And then that's kind of the work that they're showing you as well, that they both work like that. And that's what you're going to do on those. So that takes you through what you're going to work on the assignment. So your goal for the rest of the block is to work on that, and then we'll take a quiz over what we've been doing lately when we meet again next time.